Okay, let's do it. Daima just had its 12th episode and we got a lot to talk about, so let's get it. Remember to like and subscribe. Also, now you can become a member of the channel for $1, and that gets you things like early access to videos, guaranteed responses to comments, stickers, badges, and things like that. So, if you'd ever like to support the channel, you can do that, or just hit the thanks button. Every little bit helps, and I appreciate it. But let's get on to the show at hand, starting with... Okay, so I'm really enjoying the way Daima looks. There were several points where I seriously forgot I was not watching a Dragon Ball movie. Everything is super consistent art-wise, which until now I never even noticed how important that was. It really helps you get more immersed in the show, and on top of that, even just the colors are amazing. I love seeing a non-washed out Dragon Ball art style. The backgrounds are bright and detailed but not distracting, so a big shout out to all those who work on this show. And the choreography, while it isn't constantly on 100, that's never really been Dragon Ball style, and it actually helps at times to have it be a little abstract with the fights. However, that kind of leads me to my next point. I have no idea how strong anybody is. Like, Goku is clearly still our strongest character, but it's hard to tell how much he's holding back, and how much, if at all, he and the others were nerfed by becoming younger. It all remains to be seen, and that's both good and bad. It's good because it at least brings back some of the tension in that you aren't really sure how much of a fight any one character will put up. Like, how strong is any one character compared to Namek Saga Frieza? Because that's just become the bar at this point. But on the other hand, it's bad because, well, Daima is in a smaller time gap than any other Dragon Ball story, and it's probably the last story they can fit in this gap, depending on how this plays out. So they kind of have to tighten up the power scaling, just because Goku shouldn't be too weak or too strong. He just defeated Buu, but is nowhere near where he would be when Beerus shows up. And that goes for everybody else, even the new characters, Du and Koof, who, from the looks of it, at this point are nowhere near as strong as Buu. But speaking of which... Okay, just real quick before we talk about the ops, can someone explain to me the Majin thing? Like, are all the demon Majin, or is that just a title given to them? Because I'm not exactly sure how it works. Also, I wonder what energy the Tamas are using, and magic is a fine answer, but it begs some questions that we won't get into here. So, back to the baddies. I'll start with who I like the most. Ku and Du. Now, Ku, I kind of disliked out of the gate because of his design, but the more he spoke, the better he got. And Du, while I liked his design more, I thought he was going to be the serious one, but the fact that that didn't happen is a huge win for me, and already I'm really enjoying these characters to the point where I hope they stick around, which is more than I can say for the others like Dr. Arinsu, who obviously needs a little bit more time to shine and see what she's on. Side note, riding a floating hookah is what gave her extra points in my book. But when it comes to Goma and Dagesu, is that his name? Well, it might as well be, because he's not even interesting enough for me to look it up. These two are just so nothing that I'm tempted to skip every scene we cut back to them, because it never goes anywhere. I hate Goma's design, and Dagesu just kind of stands there and says things, and because of Ku and Du's introduction, it leads me to believe that none of these characters will be fighting, which I admit does make them less valuable in my eyes, because now we're just looking at set pieces that affect the story, and are in opposition to our main cast for some reason, which brings me to... So far, there's only one person in our protagonist group that I am not wanting more out of, and that's the fish pilot guy. He's kind of creepy, and his jokes don't really hit for me, so I'll never learn his name, but everyone else I want to see way more from. Like, obviously Glorio is a little shady, but I feel like he will probably come around just because he's spending so much time with the main cast, and putting him on the other side would probably take him out of the spotlight a bit. And Pansy, while she isn't nearly as useful as Goku or Glorio, but because of her niche character, her place in Dragon Ball is solidified in my mind, and I can definitely see her being a return character on any later DB installments, because while she isn't a joke machine or OP fighter, I predict this is the reason Bulma came along, and by the time this series is over, Pansy will probably be the equivalent of a Demon Realm Bulma. She's already a tinkerer, so that's not a huge jump. And now, we have Neva, who, I'm gonna be honest, I hope he's just as neutral as he's giving off, because I need Piccolo to bond with more Namekians, maybe learn something, because I get it. There was a lot going on Namek, and you probably wouldn't want to go back after what happened there, but it always bums me that Piccolo never wants to interact with his heritage. And I know Piccolo considers himself an Earthling since he was born on Earth, but the fact that he forgot he could get giant, even if it was a gag, is the reason I want him to talk with Neva, because Piccolo could get a crazy upgrade and be on par with Vegeta and Goku, who, speaking of which, only look nerfed because they seemingly refused to leave base form, and at first I thought it was because they got younged, but that doesn't seem to be the case, which is weird because in the beginning they were implying that Goku had a hard time moving around and fighting and even going Super Saiyan because he was younged, but now it seems like that's more because he was in the demon realm? I don't know. And a certain Super Saiyan 3 threw that right out the window, and now I have to believe they just want to fight in base form, and Super Saiyan and anything beyond is only reserved for those bigger, more real threats. Which implied that they could just steamroll the whole mission if they wanted to, and I think they can, but in the twist of the decade, I think this could be the turning point for DB's power creep, and we could focus more on problems and solutions and just have the fights be baked in where they're the coziest. And just real quick, I didn't know that I needed young Goku in regular kid clothes or Super Saiyan 3 Vegeta, but now that I have them, I need more, like a lot more. And on the topic of our main cast, I'm noticing something that may be real, but you tell me. Cause I wanted to say everyone from DBZ, like Bulma, Piccolo, Vegeta, and Goku were all really in character, especially Goku. But then I noticed that that's probably because they aren't taking up but about 25% of the dialogue in any given scene. So it may just be that less is more. But with that out of the way, let's talk about... I'm really interested to see where this goes, because as of right now, it doesn't look like Daima is going to be nearly as long as Z or even Super, but if it's an introduction to a new DB storyline, we might be in the midst of a whole re-rising, so to speak, but that sort of thing is a long shot, as we went from gathering 7 balls to 3, and it's been almost too easy to get all of them, although the search hasn't nearly been the adventure that it used to be since early Dragon Ball, so yeah, we already have all the Dragon Balls, not in one place, but still. This part of the adventure is already coming to a close, so we'll see how everything goes with that and how they handle the aftermath. But as of now, Dragon Ball is really holding up its own weight, and if this quality of content keeps coming down the pipeline, I think we'll be fine for the foreseeable future. And Daima is already one of the only shows in a long time I have actually genuinely looked forward to watching, so that's a good indication of something. But let me know what you think down in the comments. Remember to like, subscribe, join if you can, and I hope you enjoyed the video because I appreciate you watching. So until next time, peace.
That thunder on me clap, make a nigga think before he act. Have a nigga dying on his back, then we double back. Shooters leaving rubber where you at, that's why niggas never wanna match.